Welcome back everyone. As most of you know, the Samsung Galaxy S20 FE was a beautiful phone that Samsung pushed out last year, and we should be seeing the predecessor or the successor coming of this thing very soon, which I'm really happy about. But this phone, to be honest, when it first came out was a little bit of a different device. But since then, it's gotten improvements, it's gotten updates, and I will be honest, it's probably been one of the more popular phones recently, and I think it's definitely more popular than the Galaxy S21, which is kind of crazy. Now, if you want to pick this thing up, links are down in the description. You can get them from there, help support the channel at the same time. Now, with the front panel of this thing, you have a 6.5-inch Super AMOLED display, and as I mentioned before, I think that's a pretty good looking panel. That's definitely not an ugly phone. It has still a lot of character and a lot of capability, and I do think this is one of the biggest assets for a phone like this. You have a 120Hz panel on this thing as well, which is just mind-blowing, the fact that you had this on somewhat of a budget phone that was supposed to be a budget phone last year. Now, it's not perfect, they did cut corners, but now looking at the Galaxy S21, we can see that this is almost the same thing in terms of build quality as the Galaxy S21, which is crazy. So you do have a USB Type-C port on this thing, you have a micro SD card slot as well, which is amazing, but you also, if you flip it around to the back, you do have that plastic back on this thing, which isn't perfect. It's not ideal. I didn't want it, to be honest, but we have it and there's nothing we can really do about it. I don't think it's a bad thing though. I think we've definitely kind of got used to it, especially with the Galaxy S21 having a plastic back. And there were even rumors that some other phones were going to bring plastic backs too, but I'm glad they didn't. And I don't know what it is, but it just decreases the, just the feeling of the phone overall. Even though you're going to put a case on it, it is one of those things that you still kind of have to keep in mind. So other than that, you do have that triple camera setup on the back as well, which still looks very good. Is that wide telephoto and ultra wide sensor. Now, we don't have 8K capability, but we still have 4K at 60 on the front and the back of this phone, which is a massive thing to keep in mind. You have a tremendous camera setup on this thing, even though it's not, 8K capability like the Galaxy S21. It's still a very good sensor. When I used it, when I still use it sometimes, it's a pretty good sensor, and I really, again, don't have too much to complain about it. But I will say, if you have something that, like a Galaxy S21, that is definitely going to be a better sensor, but I'm not complaining about it too much, and I do think it's a good camera overall. Now, one of my least favorite things about the Samsung Galaxy S20 FE has to probably be the software. It's rocking One UI right now, and as I mentioned before, One UI is not my favorite software of all time. I think a lot of you know this by now. If you've ever used One UI, it's a little bloated, but also the longevity of the software has now actually been beaten again by Google. It looks to be that Google is actually going and improving that specific software lifecycle of their own phones, meaning Samsung is kind of the last one again. So I don't think it's a crazy big deal, but it is one of those things to keep in mind. If you want a longer lasting phone, you may want to go for something like a Pixel 6 or Google Pixel 6 Pro. Those may be the better ones for you. But again, you can't really go wrong with the S20 FE. It's a cheap phone too, which is good. Now, performance-wise, this is a really impressive thing about this phone as well. I mean, you're getting that Qualcomm Snapdragon 865G chipset from last year. It's not the G chipset, it's the 5G chipset, but you also get 6 gigs of RAM, and you can go all the way up to 8 gigs of RAM as well. So that is another pretty impressive thing about this phone. The fact that you can just, again, pick this thing up and move on with your life, that is very important. And that is one of my favorite things about the Galaxy S20 FE. The performance of this thing is still extremely good. As I mentioned, I don't want to get a phone and already have it outdated or have it feeling slow or anything like that. And with this phone, that is not going to be the case at all. This is a very good performing phone. If for heavy intensive games, for minor intensive games, whatever you're going to be doing, it's definitely going to be able to handle your throughput for sure. So in terms of performance, that covers it up there. Battery life has also been really good as well. Not too much to complain about. I think it's a very good performing battery life for what it is, 4500 mAh battery. Pretty much the same battery size as the Note 20 Ultra, which is pretty crazy. So ultimately, what I will tell you is that this is a very good phone still. Although it's not perfect, there's some quirky things here and there. I think this is a very good phone, and honestly, you can't really go wrong with it. I would highly recommend you guys to pick it up, and that pretty much covers it up. If you guys have any other questions or anything, let me know in the comment section as well. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.